Hi everyone, Calais, my ALF training, my ALF consultant. I just did a live stream on our other channel, so I want you to know. I think I got them mixed up. I was doing a live stream on my ALF training, but I thought I was on my ALF consultant, telling people to subscribe to my ALF training who already subscribed to my ALF training. So if you're subscribed to my, I have two YouTube channels, and sometimes we do different things on both. I wanted to move everybody over to one channel, but YouTube doesn't make it easy. So what I'm doing is I'm telling you to subscribe to both channels if you're interested in ALF training, business training, learning about opening your own business. So I'm going to put a link here to the My ALF training page, to the YouTube channel for My ALF training. And let's see here, My ALF training. Put a link right in here. Can everybody hear me okay? So subscribe to that YouTube channel. You're ready. Thank you for the like. So opening your own assisted living facility, if you've subscribed to this channel, it's probably because you are interested in opening your own group home, residential assisted living, residential care facility. In California, they're called RCFEs. But they're universal. They're pretty much the same. I've looked at a lot of the regulations for almost every state. And I think every state you can open one. You can open a group home or a residential care facility or assisted living facility. And the process is very similar. And operations-wise, cost-wise, I can't see how they'd be different. So a lot of people rush into getting their assisted living. And I just don't want anybody to do that. Don't rush into anything because you're going to be in a bad position. You need to understand, don't rush into a contract on a property. Don't rush into a rental property, even if the opportunity looks good. At least learn a little bit, do a little digging. Is the property right? Is it allowed for what you're looking at doing? I looked at a property a few days ago, and it had a lot of bedrooms, had 8 bedrooms. And there was a fundamental flaw with the property that wouldn't allow you to do what you wanted to do. And you wouldn't know that. And if you rushed in and you had some, residential real estate agent or even some commercial person may not understand the requirements for assisted living. So be smart about it. And you need to figure out, are you renting? Are you buying? What are the costs going to be for you to start up your place? I mean, is it going to be worthwhile to rent, make all these modifications, but you're only getting a 1-year lease? I mean, maybe you need a longer term lease. Those are all things you need to figure out. Is a 3-year lease enough? Is the 3-year lease too much? Maybe you want to build it up. Maybe you want to move them on to a different property. You can move your residents with you if you're moving nearby and the families are understanding that you're moving to a better situation and they like you. I know our consultant partner who's going to be at our live business training in outside of Orlando in January did that. She went from smaller place to a bigger place. And those are the opportunities that can come to you when you get into the business and you do it right. You get into it, you learn, and then you can possibly upgrade to bigger and better things. And that's how almost every single person that is successful in almost any business does it. They don't, they learn. And so what I'm asking you to do is learn before you start. I know you have passion and you're excited, but you need to know what you don't know before you start. And you have time. I know you want to quit your job, or you want to, you see people making YouTube videos saying, hey, you can make, all this money and you can just rent properties and it's it's not like that. This is a hands-on business. It's there's state regulations, there's city regulations, fire regulations, health department, food regulations. So start the foundation of knowledge. Subscribe to both our channels. Come to our in-person business training. First one's in January. We'll be doing them. Right now, it's a one-day training. It's $200 for the first 10 people. We've already got people registering, so the slots for the early birds going. And come and meet us. It's a rare opportunity to learn from people who have done what you're trying to do. And if you're not willing to spend $200 to come and learn, then you're probably in the wrong business, because opening a business is very expensive, and opening an assisted living facility is extremely expensive. By the time you take that first resident in, you have an obligation to provide services round the clock, 24 hours a day for that one resident. Getting to the point where you can take that one resident is going to be an investment. You're going to need to put fire safety systems in there across the country. Everybody who opens some sort of facility, you're going to have fire safety systems. What those systems are, I don't know. You'll have to check with your local authorities. There's something called the NFPA 101. NFPA 101. That stands for National Fire Prevention Association. They've come up with standards for assisted living facilities and group homes. And there's tiers based on size and evacuation capabilities. And most fire marshals, local fire marshals, will follow those standards. Some of them have extra standards. And ultimately, you have to follow what the local fire marshal says, the local health department, the local zoning authority. So just because somebody tells you, hey, go find a 4-bedroom house, put 2 people in each room, and you can have, 8 residents, that doesn't mean that's not necessarily true. It's true in some places, some parts of Florida, other parts of Florida not, some parts in Michigan or wherever else you're looking to open your group home. You have to understand what your local city requirements are. And you don't even have to have a house. You could just see a house that's available for sale that you would be somewhat interested in, and go down to the city and ask them and say, if I bought this house, can I do this? How many rooms can I put? Go to your fire marshal. That's how you learn. So come to our business training. I need you to understand that it's a very good value. Let me just tell you some of the subjects we're going to cover. Steps to open your ALF, and I'll post a link here. Anybody have any questions? You can click on that. It'll take you to the page where it explains to you. There's core training. We have a core training. Core training is the administrator training, which you need to take the state exam. And then we bundled it with a core training plus a business training. It's an online business training. And then now we've just added the live business training. A lot of people wanted us to do in-person core training, but it's you can't learn that amount of information in person. So I think it's a disservice to you. And if you think you're going to get something in person with a live trainer, you're not going to get what you think you get, because if you want information about opening a business or anything related to the business, they'll answer questions about a rule. How many days do you have to report this incident? What type of training do your staff need? What forms do residents need when they come in? What does your admissions package need to have? Those are general rules, and those are things we teach you online in this format here, video. So the core training, we teach you that in video, and then we give you a lot of quiz questions to help you prepare for the state exam, because ultimately that is what That is what the core training is for, to learn the rules so you can pass the state exam. And the class should be taught over a month. It should be like a real estate license. It takes you a month to learn the rules, and then go take the state exam. Because if you fail the state exam, you pay $200 to take the state exam, and then you go ahead and fail the state exam, and you have to retake it. And if you're trying to open your facility and you're failing the state exam a couple of times, you got to schedule a month out in advance to take the exam, maybe 2 weeks. And then you need to, if you fail, you need to reschedule another 2 weeks to 4 weeks. And you don't want to have to delay anything. So I just want to reiterate, subscribe to our other YouTube channel. We have My ALF Training, My ALF Consultant. Come to our live business training. Outside of Orlando, it's 1 day, 8 hours, covering steps to open your ALF, renting versus buying, picking the right location, understanding your competition, your unique selling proposition, what makes you special, how are you going to market that to family members when they come, marketing and branding, and if we can fit it in somehow, there'll be an extra charge, but a facility tour of our consultant partners' assisted living, which is very close by to the training location. So I think that $200 for the first 10 people is extremely valuable, and people already have booked some. How long does the online training take? Okay, are you in Florida, Nurse Adios? Nurse Ados? In Florida, it's a 26-hour class. So if you didn't sleep, you could do it in 1 day. Most people spend, I would say, prepare for a good 2 weeks, just so that you're in Florida. It's broken up into 12 sections, 12 modules, and you work at your own pace. And it takes, I would just say, give yourself a week to 2 weeks. Just so you can really understand the material, because it really should be taught over a month, like the real estate training. The test is as hard. The pass rate for real estate, I think, is 50%. The pass rate for assisted living is 50%. Our pass rate's higher than that. And I think the reason why it's higher than that is that people spend the required time, and then they use the quiz questions and the exam prep that you get as part of your training. So a lot of people, I get the call all the time, I learn better in person. And we consider doing in-person training. Okay. Well, first of all, we would absolutely have to charge $400 at minimum to do it. And it's the state, you have to teach these 12 modules. Okay. And the 12 modules consist of things like general license activity, administration, records, residency cycle, food requirements, medication training. So the beginning part of the training is a majority. I'd say the first 6 modules is a majority of what's going to be covered on the state exam. The remaining 6 modules are important for understanding things like hospice, what is home health, what type of different diagnoses are there, special needs population, where it's about Alzheimer's and things like that. But what people do in the in-person training, and we would do the same thing, is we would bring in guest speakers. The guest speakers, when I took core training in person, okay, you have to understand the amount of rules that this training covers. Just the Florida Administrative Code, which is 59A-36 FAC. That's 60 pages. I always forget if 60 or 70, and then there's the Florida statutes, which are probably another 50 pages, and then you have the food regulations, and you have the fire regulations, and you have the building code regulations, and you have the assistance with self-administered medication regulations that you have to understand. How do you provide assistance with self-administered medication? So how is this taught over 4 days? When I went, they bring in guest speakers. The guest speakers are like home health or hospice or a limited mental health provider, and they come in, and there's your 1 or 2 days of guest speakers, right? And then they fit in the other rules into 2 days or 2.5 days, or even 3 days. Even 3 days is not enough. Like I said, the real estate is 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And that's the amount of time it actually should take. But at one point they considered increasing the price, the time requirement for assisted living core training from 26 hours to 40 hours. There was a bill, they were trying to pass it, and somebody stopped it. They didn't want to make it 40 hours. But I think it's a little bit more appropriate amount of time that's required. So and a lot of people want to go in person because they want to raise their hand and say, okay, I have a question. How much should I charge my residents, or what are your startup costs, or how do you get your residents? And the trainer is going to say, that's a great question. See me after the training, and I'll tell you about my $5,000 to $10,000 consulting services. And we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to do that because a lot of the questions that you have are the same questions that the person next to you has. So why am I going to charge? So we created the digital online course where we take you behind the business side of things and explain all the business side of things for a small upgrade charge. You don't have to do it. It's up to you. So that's the core training plus the virtual consulting, which is a course, online course, which includes forms we use, which is probably the most valuable thing, like contracts, admissions package. It includes policies and procedures. So there's basically 3 steps for your license. Okay, you get your administrator license, you get your location, you start the application process, you submit your application to the state. The state sends the inspectors out. The inspectors come to your facility to do a physical inspection. They look around at everything, but one of the main things they're looking at is your files, your forms. And they're going to want to see your admissions package, your contract, your policies and procedures. And if you don't have if that stuff's not in place, then they're going to deny it. And then they set a 30-day time period where if you're missing any of those things, then they'll come back again in 30 days. They may let you submit those things electronically or digitally. That's a possibility, but you still need to have all those things in process. And what is a policy and procedure? Well, policy and procedure is like, for example, you have to have a policy and procedure that tells the prospective resident or family member or responsible party what your policy is regarding elopement. What is your policy regarding advanced directives? What is your policy regarding you need to have a policy on emergency protocols. What is your policy on? You have to have a lot of different policies and procedures. So they want to come and check on those things. And they'll also want to check your contract, make sure it has all the required elements in it. And all of that is in the Florida Administrative Code and the Florida statutes, but it's a needle in a haystack pulling the different pieces out. And another thing they're going to want to do is see your resident, your admissions package. They're going to want to see your employee files. And a lot of people say, well, and basically, you don't have any residents. They come out, they want to see your employee files. Who's going to be taking care of these residents? And you say, well, when I get my residents, I'll hire my people. And they say, nope, we want to see your employee. Who's going to be, before we give you a license, we want to see that somebody is ready in compliance to care for it. And we want to know who that person is. Do they have the background screening? Do they have this? Do they have that? Do they have all the training required? So our forms package, which is part of that, has a checklist. So your employee file, you print the checklist. Does it have this? Does it have this? This training, that training, TB test, all the different things that are required, put in the folder. And and that employees in compliance. And really, that's the number one cited thing, is your employees' files not being in compliance, more so than anything. So even after you open, it's a good thing to keep auditing those things. So don't rush out. Don't get a property. Don't lock yourself in any contracts. Work with somebody experienced. If you're looking at buying a bigger ALF, I don't really deal with smaller things, but I can point you in the right direction. Come to the event. You're going to meet other people who are going to be doing the same thing. Like, why not share ideas, make connections? If you come to our event, you're going to get to join our private Facebook group that we will be setting up for other people opening an ALF. Once you open your ALF, you can join our other Facebook group that we have for administrators. The administrator group has, I think we're almost 900 people. You have to have an ALF. You have to be a licensed administrator. And then you can join other administrators who are in there and helping each other out, answering questions. And then you can also come to our live events for administrators and owners, which we'll be doing. So the live business training is January right outside of Orlando. $200 for the first 10 people. The slots are getting filled up. It's right now it's January 11th. It is January 11th. It's a Saturday, 9 to 5. And it's at the Space Coast Convention Center. It'll be me and another consultant, Sheila, who's very knowledgeable. And if you're not willing to invest $200, and I tell people all the time, people call me and they say, well, I can't afford to pay for your core training and the virtual consulting package with the forms for $500. If you can't afford $500 for things that you need and the knowledge, how are you going to afford making payroll when you have one resident? Because you need to understand what you're getting into. Unless you are going to be caring for that one resident 24 hours a day, there'll be somebody there who has to care for them. So you have to plan, and you have to be smart. And you want to ramp up your marketing before you open. And we have plans for that, strategies for that. And part of it is your location. You're picking a market that's oversaturated. We'll teach you that on January 11th. So take your slots. Be sure to subscribe to both YouTube channels. Okay. I said this is my ALF consultant. We have my ALF training. And I want to plant a seed in your head. Plant a seed. Keep an open mind. You may have other people that want to do the same thing. Maybe other nurses. Maybe you can combine your efforts and you can get a bigger place. Buying an existing business and buying an existing facility that's running because you partnered up with some people and got a business loan. It could be a very potentially lucrative way to go, because especially if the place has the opportunity or the possibility to expand or grow or change, turn it into memory care. And then now, if you have a good group and the group is all on the same page and are able to not drain funds from the profit that you're getting, maybe you can save up the profit and it can be some sort of like a goose that lays the golden egg, and that facility can possibly generate $200,000, $300,000, over time. Now you're in a bigger scale of business, and you can do that on a smaller scale. Like I said earlier, I spoke to a lady. I know a lot of people. They have one facility. They learn. They know what to do. They jump on another opportunity. The one lady I spoke to, she had four smaller homes, and she wants to move and get a bigger place. If you're a nurse, you plan on buying an existing 16-bed. Is it already on the market, or have you already looked at it? I'm a commercial agent with Keller Williams as well. So if you haven't already looked at it, I can help you and if it's, I think that's a fantastic opportunity if you can find something that's existing. But those are the things that we can talk about. So in January, I'm going to be marketing very heavily to existing facilities, finding people that want to sell, finding people that want to get out. I have people coming to me all the time that want to get rid of their smaller home or their bigger place or, okay, good. That's good. But I definitely come by, run it by us at the meeting, you know, run by the opportunity. I'll give you my opinion of it. Sounds like it might be a very good opportunity. What was I just about to say? I can't remember. I was saying, lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about the lady that owns a place, and she owns 4. She's going to go into a bigger place, and yeah, I'm marketing in January. So there may be people or opportunities that, you know, they just want to get out. Maybe they don't want, they want to close their business and they just want somebody to take over their lease. Or maybe there's opportunities where they will sell you the business and hold the loan, you know, and you take over something that's operating with 4 residents or 3 residents, or, you know, don't think that the only opportunity you have is going to be opening a new place. And taking over, sometimes people open something and they're in over their heads. Maybe they're not in healthcare. Maybe they've never dealt with, you know, taking care of Alzheimer's residents, or, you know, dealing with the healthcare side of things. And so if you're a nurse, or if you're in healthcare field, or you have experience, or you're willing to learn, I spoke to a lady yesterday. She wants to convert her house into an ALF because she's been taking care of her mom for 10 years. She's not a nurse, but she's been doing it for 10 years. And she knows what it takes. She knows what it takes to, like, get people to doctor's appointments, and understanding that you know, watching for symptoms and signs of dehydration or urinary tract infections, or but her thing is she wants to bring in other residents to keep her mom company, bring in other residents so that she can afford to pay caregivers so that she can get a break. And, you know, when you're licensed as a facility, you can start to get a few other funding mechanisms. Like, there's not a lot, you know, a common thing that people think, first of all, one thing everybody always asks me, what kind of grants can I apply for? If you find a grant, let me know. That's, if there's any type of funding, it will be for some type of very low income. I don't think that there's anything that exists that I've read or seen. Okay, so forget about grants, or you're not doing anybody any favors by opening an ALF. There's not, you know, there's not a pool. Another question is, where do I get my residents? Now, you're not going to get them from one source. There's not like this magic pool you just open and then somebody's going to send you business. So you have to be smart. You have to understand, why would a customer choose me? My location, my services, my unique selling proposition. And Nurse Ados, you, by being a nurse, have a unique selling proposition. And you have to learn how to adapt your marketing, and, you know, maybe a name change. Maybe there's a lot of things that you can figure out. So if you have the opportunity to buy an existing 16-bed ALF, like I said, if you have experience, there are business loans, okay? And partnering up with a few other people, to buy an existing ALF can be an extremely smart move. Almost anybody that's in a small ALF. I mean, some people, they always want to get a little bigger. They want to add beds, or they want to get into a bigger facility. And the reason it affords you to possibly hire management, or spend more money on marketing, or whether when you lose residents, you know, there's a threshold where your expenses are here, and your resident capacity goes like this. Okay? So you want it to be going like this. So you want it above the water line. And you will have months when your capacity goes down and capacity goes up. And you want to be able to take advantage of the ebbs and flows of the market, because there are times when you literally will turn away 10 people. Like, I don't have space. I don't have space. I don't have space. I don't have space. You can join my waiting list. You can wait. And then there'll be times when you can't get the phone to ring. So you want to be able to take advantage of those times when you have those peaks. And then when you have the valleys, it's a little bit lower of a dip. So I'm going to say it one more time. Please come to our live event. I put a link in the chat and the description down below. $200. And we're going to be doing them. I think we'll be doing quarterly. Right now, we're only committing to one. That's in January. And you can find information on our website. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to both YouTube channels. And if you are looking to buy a facility or sell a facility, please contact me. Many ways you can contact me: my ALF consultant, my ALF training. I can be on the lookout for something that you can convert to a bigger place. I know what to look for. Something, if you want to upgrade your facility, your existing facility, I can help you do that. And if you want to sell your facility, I'm building a private network of people who want to sell but don't want it to be public, and people that I'm matching them up with people that want to buy. So that's what I'll be doing in January. Is I'll be building that private network, letting people know that if you want to sell, I have private clients that are looking to buy. And if you want to buy, I've got private sellers that these properties are not on the market. And so the only way to do that is to join the list. Let me know what you're looking for. We need to understand what your ability is as well. I mean, you know, how much resources do you have? What areas we're looking at. Sometimes opportunities don't come up, you know, where you live, where you want to be. So we have to understand that. Are you willing to manage it from afar? Should you manage it from afar? Can you? Is it big enough that you have a management team in place? Would you be willing to relocate? You know, I saw a pretty good opportunity. There was a 21 bed that could have been more. And it was, you know, on the West Coast. But sometimes that's where it is. And then I get clients that say, I only want to buy a 20-bed ALF in this, you know, this city. They don't grow on trees. Okay. So maybe we need to consider making one. And I can do that. We can help you do that. It's not a overnight thing, you know, it's a process, but definitely can help it. So I hope you like this. Please like and share this video, and come and see us in January. Okay? Thank you.